Friends, we are very happy to inform you that e-modules are prepared for B.Ed program at Telangana by the School of Education, Osmania University under Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching Scheme MHRD New Delhi. It's indeed our pleasure to share with the teacher educators and the prospective teachers and get maximum benefit out of it. It's a first of its attempt by us. We continue to add many more such lessons to share with you all.
Good morning everyone. I'm Rafia Sultana, working as assistant professor in Ghulam Ahmed College of Education. Today I'm going to speak about the Unit 6 Approaches, Methods and Techniques of Teaching English. In that, the second topic, that is a survey of methods of teaching English. We have different methods of teaching English. Here in this subtopic, we are going to speak about only 4 methods, that is the grammar translation method, direct method, Dr. West method and bilingual method. The first method is about the grammar translation, the second is the direct method, third is the Dr. West method and the fourth is the bilingual method. Now coming to what are we going to discuss about these methods. The content which is included over here is about the objectives of these 4 methods. What are the objectives of these 4 methods? What is the concept, meaning and background of these 4 methods? The next is the characteristics and principles that are involved in these 4 methods. Then we'll be discussing about the role of the teacher in different methods as well as the role of the students in these 4 methods. Then what are the different classroom activities that are being included in these 3-4 methods. Then we'll be talking about the merits and demerits of these 4 methods. Then we have having evaluation questions which will help you to understand the concept better. Then last slide will be a reference which will help you to get more information, collect more information related to these 4 methods. Now coming to the first topic, that is the grammar translation method. What are the objectives of this method? As we are talking about the method grammar translation method, here the main focus is upon the grammar as well as the translation of the text. So this method will help the learner to define the different approaches of teaching first. So they will be defining the different methods and approaches of the teaching, as well as they will be able to explain the merits and demerits of the different methods and approaches which you are talking about. Apart from this, the learners will be able to use different approaches according to the context or according to the situation wise. Thus, learners will be able to use the suitable method or approach in the teaching learning process. This grammar translation method, it also helps the learners to read the literature which is given in the written form in the target language, that is the language which we are talking about, English language, as well as it will help the learners to translate from one language to the other, that is from their mother to the English and from English to the mother tongue. So they will be able to translate the text which is given from one language to the other language. It also helps the learners to develop the reading ability and writing ability. So the learners will develop the reading and writing skills in the grammar translation method. So these are the main objectives of this grammar translation method. Now we will be discussing about the concept, the meaning and the background of the grammar translation method. As the name itself speaks about translation as well as the grammar. So this method is the method of teaching a foreign language. So this method is derived from a classical method or a traditional method of teaching Greek and Latin. Mainly this method, that is a grammar translation method, was used to teach Greek and Latin in the century, that is the 16th century. So here this method of teaching a foreign language or a second language uses the translation of grammar, this grammar as well as the teaching of the language. So this language translates as well as teach the grammar. So these are the main activities which are involved in the teaching learning process. Here the focus was given on the translation of the text, grammar and rote learning of vocabulary. So this was the main focus areas, that is the translation of text, grammar and the rote learning of the vocabulary. In grammar translation classes, students learn the grammatical rules and then apply those rules in the rules by translating the sentences which are given in the target language. So, in this way the students use the rules which are given in the grammar, and then they used to translate it in the foreign language as well as a native language. Now, coming to the characteristics of the grammar translation method. Here the classes are taught in the mother tongue because the student has to understand the concept. So, everything is being taught in their mother tongue first, with the little active use of the target language, that is the usage of the English. So, mainly the lessons are taught by mother tongue only. Much of the vocabulary is taught in the form of list of isolated words, because the child has to first acquire the word, pronunciation of the word. They should know the word first, then the meaning of the word, then the usage of the word in the particular sentence. So, much vocabulary was taught to them. Then there was a long elaborations or explanations of the grammar was given to them, because the students were learning the grammatical rules first, then they applying the grammatical rules and translating the text in the native language as well as the foreign language. Then grammar provides the rules for putting those words together. When the child first know the rules, then he will put the words according to the rules. Then he will focus on the other words. What are the changes according to the situations, how the words are being used. So, after this, little attention is paid on the content of the text. Once they got the proficiency on the grammatical rules, then we will be concentrating on the content of the text, which are treated as exercises in the grammatical analysis. That is, we talk about the active voice, passive voice, tenses, whatever the things it is. So, often the only drills are the exercises which is given, because the child has to translate what the teacher is translating. So, drilling is main focused upon this one. Connecting the sentences and disconnecting the sentences by translating will be occurring in the target as well as into the mother tongue. So, little or more no attention is given to the pronunciation over here. Sometimes the teacher may give a little attention, or sometimes totally neglect the attention for the pronunciation. The child may pronounce wrongly also, utter the words wrongly, but the teacher cannot pay attention towards it. So, this was about the characteristics of the grammar translation method. Now, coming to the different classroom techniques which we are talking about in the grammar translation method. As we said, this method focuses on the grammar and the translation of the text. That are the major areas we are talking about this method. So, what can be the role of the teacher in the classroom, and what can be the role of the student in the classroom? What kind of activities the teacher gives to the students, and what skills can be developed through these activities among the learners. This is the main focus of the grammar translation method. Here, the activities like translation of the literary passage can be given. Any passage can be given to the student and ask them to translate into the foreign language, or from the foreign language to the mother language, mother tongue. So, this is the main classroom activity which is done in the grammar translation method. Then we can give one more activity like the reading comprehension activity. This will develop the reading skill of the children. First, the child will read in the mother tongue, then after translation, again it is read by the learner in the target language, that is the English. So, in this way the child will be developing the reading skills, identification of the letters, identification of the words and the pronunciation part. Apart from this, we can give the vocabulary activity, because when you give the translation work or exercises or the reading comprehension, the child will come across the various words, which will help the learners to develop or acquire the new words, and he will be utilizing in the daily activities, thereby situation real life experiences. So, apart from this, we can have grammar activity. We have various exercises related to the grammar, that is related to the parts of speech, related to the tenses, voices, different change of voices, speeches, reported speech, directed speech, indirect speech. It can be any kind of exercises we can give related to the grammar. These are the different classroom activities which are conducted in the grammar translation method. Now, coming to the role of the teacher. What can be the role of the teacher in this grammar translation method? Here, the teacher will be asking the questions, the teacher will be translating the text and asking the students to repeat it. The teacher will make drilling over here. So, in this way the teacher will be asking questions about the meanings of the items, as well as the teacher will monitor the work of the students, and the teacher will help to develop the grammatical accuracy over here in translating the activities. So, mainly the teacher will concentrate on the translation, monitoring the activities of the students. Now, coming to the role of the student Now what the child is doing over here, when the teacher is giving exercises, the learners will practice those exercises. First the teacher is teaching the grammatical rules to the students. So here the students will learn and practice those grammatical rules. Afterwards, when they are reading any activity or translating the text, they will try out the new grammar items in the written text. For example, if you give a passage and ask them to identify different kinds of nouns, give the name collective nouns, abstract nouns from this one. In which tense is the passage? So the child will be able to try out with these grammatical items which is given in the written text. Apart from this, the learners will be able to translate the literary text which is given in the target language. So they will translate this text from the target language to their native language. So these are the roles of the teacher and the students in the grammar translation method. Now coming to the merits and demerits of the grammar translation method. We have many advantages of this grammar translation method, children, because everything the teacher is translating in their mother tongue. The teacher is making use of the mother tongue, so the child will easily understand the concept, the meanings of the words, the translation of the context. So the child will be developing the understanding power of it. So the first merit or the advantage is, here the first language is maintained as the reference system in the learning of the second language. That is, they say the first language, that is the native language, mother tongue, will be helping to acquire the second language, because the child will understand very well in the mother tongue. When he get the concept, then he will acquire the second language. Apart from this, learners will be able to compare the two languages, that is the mother tongue and the target language, which will help the students to have the better understanding of the sentence meanings. What the words or sentences are conveying the meaning, the learners can understand in the better way. And apart from this, they are talking about stressing about the grammatical rules. So here the systematic study of that grammatical rule will play an important role in fostering the students' ability of reading and grammar. So here there will be main focus on the reading and grammar. So reading ability or reading skill is developed among the students. Even the students utilize grammar in a very well manner. They have proficiency in the grammar. We are using this grammar translation method. Now there is a more focus is given on the understanding of the literary text, because translation is done related to the literary text, as well as reading is given more importance over here. As well as there is a few demand, is not much demand upon the teacher. There is no much stress on the teacher, because there is a flexibility, then opportunity for the teacher to utilize the mother tongue in making the children understand the concept very clearly. So here there will be a less stress on the teacher or demands on the teacher, although this method will create a lot of frustration for the students. Sometimes they have to understand in this, again they have to translate into the other language, again they have to repeat it. So that will lead sometimes to the frustration among the learners. Next, translation, as we are talking about, it is the easiest way of explaining the concept to the children. And the teacher doesn't have any stress, students doesn't have any stress over it. So it is the easiest way of explaining the meanings or the words and the phrases from one language to the other language. This is the one advantage of the grammar translation method. Now other advantage is teacher and students are easy to communicate the concept or the information or the content, whatever it is given, because it does not need native language over here. The students have acquainted with the target language. After translation is done, after grammar is being taught, now the students are well acquainted with the foreign language. So they can communicate easily without the native language also. Now coming to the demerits, though we have many advantages, we have disadvantages also. The first one is there is overemphasis on the translation. Everywhere the teacher has to translate the word, the sentences, phrases, and then the teacher has to teach it. Even the students has to do the same thing. So overemphasis is given on the translation. That can never emancipate the learners from dependence on the first language, because the child gets habituated. Learners are dependent upon the use of the mother tongue. So every time if they are using the mother tongue, the students will not come out of it. They cannot depend upon the foreign language. They have to totally depend upon the native language, that is a mother tongue. Now, as well as the next disadvantage is this method will put too much emphasis on the reading and writing. because this child has to read, translate it, they have to write it in their foreign language to the other language, they have to translate it. So reading and writing is given more emphasis over here, and this method will neglect the listening and speaking ability of the child. So as we talk about the order, listening, speaking, reading and writing, the order is being disturbed over here. The concentration focus is given only on the reading and writing, and they neglect the speaking and listening skills. This is one of the disadvantages of this method. Now, a next disadvantage of this method is that texts are mostly taken from the literary parts, literary works. So that will not work out with the practical aspects or the needs of the learner. So mostly this is the drawback which the grammar translation method has. The next is memorization of grammar rule, and bilingual word list does not motivate the students. If it is in a target language, lot of motivation will be there. The child will be enthusiastic or eager to learn the new words. If it is in a bilingual method, that enthusiasm or eagerness will not be there in the students to learn the new words and actively communicate in the target language. So this is one of the drawback of this method, and there won't be any scope for communication, effective communication with the learners in the target language. If you are the teacher and the learner, you are using the mother tongue in between it. Direct translation method is also widely used as inefficient way of becoming fluent in any language. If we use this bilingual and mother tongue as well as the English, fluency and accuracy will not be there in the speaking skills. So these are the drawbacks of this grammar translation method. Now coming to the next method we are talking about is about the direct method. This is the reaction against the grammar translation method. As grammar translation method stressed only on the reading and writing, it neglected the listening and speaking. So to overcome these deficiencies or weaknesses, direct method came into existence. Now we'll see what are the objectives of this direct method. This direct method will make the learners to access to English literature in the target language without the use of the mother tongue. It will also develop the learners' minds to think in a different way in a target language itself and express it in the target language. Apart from this, it will help the learners to communicate in English language, that is a target language, without any usage of the mother tongue. And it also helps the learners to use the language orally. So speaking ability is being developed here without using the mother tongue, with the usage of the pictures or the demonstrations or through creating any situation wise. The speaking ability is developed by giving opportunities to the students. So these are the main objectives of the direct method. This method stress on the speaking ability of the learners. Now coming to the concept of this direct method. This direct method is sometimes called as a reform method, oral method, natural method or psycholinguistic method, because it deals with the mental ability of the child to think. So psychological method it can be called as, it is talking about the speaking skills. So it is giving more stress or focus on the speaking ability. So phonetics method, it is also called as a phonetic method. We are using the teaching aids over here, so it is also called as a anti-grammatical method. And this method was established in the country France and Germany around 1900. This was introduced in our country during the 20th century, and which was the need in the method of teaching English, because grammar translation method was having lot of drawbacks in it. So in order to develop or in order to have a qualitative teaching, we have to adopt the direct method. So this was developed as a reaction against the grammar translation method. So this method was developed by Maximilian Bartels towards the end of the 19th century in Europe. The main purpose of introducing this method was for the communication process, because they was concentrating on the economic growth. So to have an economic growth, they have to communicate with the traders. So this communication will be among the nations, which has to be carried on more frequently. So there should be a common language, that is the English language should be used to communicate with the traders to have economic growth. So with that intention, this direct method came into existence. So this direct method is a method of teaching in the language directly, establishing a direct contact, you can say, or immediate association between experience and expressions. So experience what they have it, and expressions what they are to express their ideas or thoughts. between the words, that is what you are using. Language here you are using in the English. So, the words in English, phrases or the idioms and its meanings through the various activities or various methods like demonstrations, dramatizations without the use of the mother tongue. So, this was the main focus of the direct method to improve the communication skills among the people. So, the focus is on the good pronunciation with spontaneous use of the language. If the child is able to use continuously in every situations in the target language, then definitely the learner will have a good command on the pronunciation. And no translation should be done in the mother tongue from one language to the other language. And little grammar analysis will be done in the teaching learning process. So, this method is also introducing the phonetics, because we are concentrating on the pronunciation. So, phonetics plays a major role in this. Now, the next we are talking about the characteristics of this direct method. This direct method is here and now. How are we going to deal it? What are you going to teach and how we are going to teach? That should be done only in the target language without the use of the mother tongue. And when you are talking about how we are going to teach it, we have to talk about the ways in which we are going to teach them. So, we concentrate on the pictures, we concentrate on the demonstrations, we can include experimentations, we can have group discussions, we can use real objects, audio-visual aids, the different TLM or resources can be used through which you will teach the concept in the direct method. Here the sentences will be in the simple discourse without any complexity. First, the simple sentences are taught to the students. When they get acquainted with it, then the complex sentences will be introduced as the level increases. It also concentrates on the correct pronunciation, because we are focusing on the phonetics. You are talking in the target language, the child is given opportunity to express their ideas and views in the target language. So, correct pronunciation will be emphasized in this one. Here, grammatical rules are taught in an inductive method. First, small examples will be given, then the rule will be taught to the students so that they can understand in the target language. Then the reading text is also given as an activity. This will be done only in the target language. So, these are the main characteristics of the direct method. Now, coming to the classroom activities. The classroom activities which includes in the direct method. Here, question and answer techniques are used, where the teacher asks the questions and the students give the responses in the target language. Apart from that, the teacher can give the dictation. When the dictation is given, the listening as well as the speaking ability of the learner is improved. The pronunciation is improved. The spellings will be improved when they are doing the dictation work. Apart from the reading aloud, if the teacher reads aloud, the students will acquire the correct pronunciation, intonation, and the identification of symbols, stress, rhythmic pattern. All this will be identified by the learners. Then student self correction, when the students utter the same thing with the teacher is uttering. So, the students will learn where they are going wrong and they will correct it by again practicing this one in the target language itself. Then conversations, you can give the activities, small activities to the children depending upon the situation. Teacher has to create the situations for this one and give the task to the learners. The learners will have discussions between them and prepare a conversation, and this conversation will help them to speak in the target language. As well as this conversation will help to develop the vocabulary also, grammar also. Then we have paragraph writing. You can ask them to write their paragraph on any topic. That will be help the children to have the critical thinking, mental ability will be improved. They can put the vocabulary which they have gained it in the order. So, they can have proper arrangement of the words in the sentences. They can convey the right meaning through these activities. So, these are the general activities, classroom activities which can be used in the direct method. Now, coming to the role of the teacher and the role of the students. Here, the teacher is active. Teacher plays a major role, active role here. So, teacher whatever will speak out, the students will speak out. So, the teacher role is quite active over here. The teacher directs all the classroom activities. The teacher will sort out the activities. The teacher will ask the questions to the students, and the students have to answer these questions. And the teacher uses the sentences instead of words and makes the students speak much over here. So, these are the roles of the teacher. Now, coming to the roles of the students. as we are involving the students in the conversations, writing paragraphs, group discussions, using the target language, that makes the students more active over here. So there will be less passive over here. Okay. So in the role of the teacher is less quite active. That means the teacher is little passive over here. Now the students are more active over, little passive over here, as compared to the grammar translation method. Here the children, learners will think and speak in the target language, that is the English language. They try to speak as much as possible, try to express their ideas, convey their meanings to the words and sentences. They will learn how to ask a question as well as answer them. It's not just the teacher is asking the question and the students are answering. The learners will also ask the question to the teacher. So this ability is also done or developed in the students through the direct method. Now coming to the merits and demerits of the direct method. We have many advantages as well as disadvantages related to this direct method. Now let's see first what are the advantages of this method. In this method, quick understanding takes place, that too in an English language, without the use of the mother tongue over here. So they can converse in English, so easy it becomes, it teaches to the second language by the teacher, as well as it becomes very easy to the learners to understand it also. So it is a two-way communication process going on in the direct method. There is no gap or difference between an active and a passive vocabulary over here. Because everything is done in the target language, you have to use the words. So there is no difference between the active and the passive vocabulary over here. And this sounds principles of education, because we concentrate on all the aspects of the language. Mainly we talk about the phonetics, pronunciation. So it concentrates, this direct method concentrates and develops these skills among the students. Now coming to the disadvantages of the direct method. It is having many advantages, it has the drawbacks. This method will be paying less attention on the language, that is the first language, because totally we are neglecting the mother tongue in this language. So we are not paying attention towards the language. Sometimes students will face difficulty in understanding the concept of it without the use of the mother tongue. So there will be difficulty in learning process for the learners. There will be a compare learning in second language. The students will compare and see the usage of the second language was far better to understand this one. So this comparison will happen in the direct method. But though they have few drawbacks, we have many advantages in the direct method. Now coming to the Dr. West method. This is the third method which we are going to discuss in this subtopic. This was the method which came into existence as a reaction against to the that is the direct method, against the direct method. So here the objective of the Dr. West method is to improve the reading ability of the students. Reading skills have to be improved first. Later other skills can be improved depending upon this one. So here Dr. West method will help the learners to read the given text with fluency and accuracy. He says reading is the route to gain the fluency and accuracy. So this will help the learners to read the passage or the text with fluency and accuracy, as well as it will help the learners to acquire the vocabulary, because the reading will help to get the rich vocabulary from the given written text. So they will get adequate vocabulary from the reading part. So these are the main objectives of the Dr. West method. This also helps the learners to comprehend the text in the target language, that is the English language. They can understand and comprehend the language. So this method was developed by Michael Philip West. He was an English language teacher. He did a lot of research work, on how we can improve the teaching in the schools. So he did a research work which was carried out in India in the midst of 1900s, and he produced the reading material, or you can say the reading scheme, that is called with the name the New Method Readings, which was given by the Longmans, Green and Company. And a general service list of English words were given in the list, that is also given by the Longman, Harlow, Essex in 1953. So this Dr. West method will put more emphasis on three important elements. The three important elements are, the first one is the reading. We have to read it. So reading will be the given more importance first. Second, reading with selected vocabulary. We will be concentrating on few vocabulary which is selected by the teacher. So that reading part will be done with the selected vocabulary. This is the second element. Then the third element is the judicious use of this mother tongue. How much you will be using the mother? Whenever it is required, then only mother tongue is used by the teacher, not by the student. So these are the three main elements the Dr. West method has emphasized. Now coming to the features, that is the characteristics of Dr. West method, as he has stressed more on the reading. So when the child is reading, through this reading, how many vocabulary words should be developed, how much he should gain it. So that has been given by the Dr. West method. He says that when the child is reading, he should learn the essential words, he should learn the common environmental words, he should learn the general words, he should learn the specific environmental words. For example, in the essential words which are daily used by the students, the vocabulary words where the child uses in the daily life, this, that, it is here, here and there, she, he and all this. So these are the essential words which the child learns it. So that has to be given important. The second is the common environmental words, common which are easily used by the child in the classroom. Chair, table, glass, bus, he comes by the bus, he goes to the home by bus, he uses the glass, box, table, chair in the classroom. So the teacher has to teach these common environmental words to them. Then we have general words. General words like we have showing the characteristics of it, good, bad, that qualities can be taught by the teacher. Then we have specific environmental words, that is like the tree, river, garden, mounds, etc. So these are the different words that has to be developed through the reading part. Then we will be concentrating on the second one, this is the oral work, which we talk about the silent reading. The child should not be allowed to read aloud. When the child is reading aloud, the eye span will be less and there we cannot comprehend the passage easily. So silent reading should be emphasized. This will help the learners to increase the eye span, to understand the words and the meanings in the sentences very clearly. The students will be able to comprehend the passage when they do the silent reading. So this was the second characteristic of the feature of the Dr. West method. Next, the next feature of the Dr. West method is training in speech. We said the oral activity is given importance, then the child has to speak out also. So when he is speaking, how much vocabulary has to be used by the learners? So Dr. West has selected a minimum speaking vocabulary of 1158 words that is capable of expressing all our ordinary ideas, general ideas we can express through this 1158 vocabulary words. Apart from this, he has classified all these words under two main headings. These two main headings are the form words and the content words. Now we will see what are these things. Now we can talk about the Dr. West method's merits and demerits. Now when coming to the advantages of it, it develops the reading skills of the students. It is very useful for the lower grade children. As it follows, the lower grade children will be able to enjoy this one because reading is given main importance. It also develops the comprehension of the learners. Interest in reading is increased through this method. Apart from this, we have few drawbacks like overemphasis is given on the reading skills. So here neglecting the oral speaking skill is being neglected over here. So the TLM teaching learning process here will become dull and monotonous because only reading is done. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of the Dr. West method. Now coming to the fourth one, that is a bilingual method. But the name it says bilingual is the usage of the two languages. So the main objective of this method is to make the learners of a second language or a foreign language fluent and accurate in the spoken words. When they are speaking, there should be a fluency and accuracy in their speech. So that is the main objective, to develop the fluency and accuracy in the speech. Then the next objective is to make the learners accurate in the written words. When they are speaking, when they are writing also, they should use the appropriate and accurate words which are easily suitable to the context. Then the next objective is to prepare the learners in such a manner that they may be able to achieve through bilingualism, easily understand it and comprehend it. So this bilingualism was given by this bilingual method was developed by Dr. C.J. Dodson. He was the main bilingual exponent who gave this bilingual method. So, according to the Lamb, bilingualism refers or means that is a phenomena of competence and communication in two languages. That is, the learner should have competency and should be able to communicate in two languages, that is the mother tongue and the foreign language. So, this is the phenomena given by the that is given by the Lamb. Now, this method was developed by said Dr. C.J. Dodson. According to him, he says that this method needs two languages, that is the L1 and L2. L1 is the mother tongue, L2 is the foreign language, target language. So, according to him, this approach begins from the bilingual and becomes monolingual at the end. So, at the initial stage, two languages will be used. Afterwards, when they reach the higher levels, it becomes only usage of the target language, monolingualism, that is. Now, we have the principles of the bilingual method. This method is in which the teacher will be given more importance. The teacher will be explaining the meanings to the students. Whenever there is a use of the mother tongue, the teacher has the flexibility to use the target mother tongue in teaching the target language. Here, the learner is sufficiently subjected to sentence pattern drill. Reading and writing are introduced in the later stages. First, drilling is done, reading and writing is given importance at the higher levels. So, in this way, there is an integration of the speaking and writing skills in this one. Then, he says that mother tongue is not used as a translation. Only to understanding the meaning of a particular word, mother tongue should be used, not total translation. Here, the teacher uses mother tongue in the classroom. Students are not allowed to use the mother tongue. Here, sentence is the unit of teaching, not the word. Here, the teacher has to teach the entire sentence as a unit of teaching. Here, L1 is used to explain by the teacher to achieve his communication or explanation. The teacher gives meanings in the first language. When the students achieve the sufficient communication, their mother tongue will be withdrawn by the teacher and the target language will come into existence. Now, coming to the procedure or the steps in the bilingual method. First, the teacher read out the dialogue to the class, that is to the students, and the students listen to the teacher with their books closed first, and they will acquire the pronunciation and get the meaning of it. Then the students will repeat the lines what the teacher has read out with the teacher with their books open now. So, in this way, reading will be also developed. The teacher gives the sentences, sentence wise meanings to the students with the help of the mother tongue. The teacher says each sentences of the dialects twice over here, not once, twice the teacher repeats it with meanings given in the mother tongue. So, these are the steps which are followed in the bilingualism method. Now, coming to the advantages or disadvantages of this bilingual method. The first advantage of this method is the teacher is saved from the botherization of creating the situation, and time is also saved by the teacher, because it takes a lot of time to create the situations to convey a particular meaning in the target language, that is the English. So, teacher can use the mother tongue, so the botherization of creating situation and time is being reduced for the teacher. Even an average teacher of English can teach through this method, because the teacher can use the first language, that is a mother tongue, without any elaborate preparation for it one. This will promote both fluency and accuracy, and it also make use of the linguistic habits. Apart from this, we have disadvantages. The first disadvantage is it focuses on the grammatical structures, not the day-to-day conversations, and it also it also requires the teacher. We are talking about the fluency and accuracy. So, the teacher must be proficient in both the languages, that is the mother tongue and the target language. Students become dependent on their mother tongue. This is one of the things when the teacher uses the mother tongue, few students will get acquainted and dependent upon the mother tongue. The methods and procedures are not different here. This is one and the same. Now, these are the few questions for your children, which will help you all to prepare for your theory exams, as well as to use these methods in your teaching practice sessions. Now, these are references through which you can get more information, collect more information related to it.